And we're live.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, it is time for our personnel committee meeting. It's 5:30. Let's have Teresa, will you please take a roll call?
Trustee Burgo.
Here.
Trustee Wilson. Trustee Pandolfi.
Here.
Trustee Stepp.
Here.
Trustee Weiss.
So she's talking.
Trustee Wyckoff.
Here.
Oh, hi, Michelle. Trustee Thieves.
Here.
Trustee Weiss. Says she's talking. Okay. Cody, it looks like Trustee Weiss is on the line. Can you try to communicate with her and let her know we cannot hear her here? There's a sound issue.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Trying to pull up my agenda here. Could we, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
This is Noelle. I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Noelle.
Second.
Rita, second.
Okay, thank you. We can hear you, Rita. Yay. Okay, we've got a first and a second. Any discussion? If not, then we'll go ahead and approve the agenda. Teresa, please, roll call.
Trustee Wyckoff.
Aye.
Trustee Weiss.
Are you saying Rita Weezy?
Trustee Thieves.
Yes.
Trustee Pandolfi.
Aye.
Trustee Stepp.
Yes.
Trustee Burgo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll take a motion and a second to approve the minutes from last time. Do I have a motion?
This is Noelle again. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Thank you, Noelle. Did we have a second?
Yes, Ron Thieves, second.
Ron. Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Teresa, roll call, please.
Trustee Wyckoff.
Aye.
Trustee Weiss.
Rita Weezy?
Trustee Thieves.
Yes.
Trustee Pandolfi.
Aye.
Trustee Stepp.
Yes.
Trustee Burgo.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to personnel budget recommendation. As you recall, last time we presented the budget to the personnel committee in quite some detail and gave the personnel committee a chance to review and come up with questions. I today have not had any questions back from individual board members. I'm not sure if Aaron has as well, but that doesn't preclude you asking questions now. It's just, would be nice to have them in advance so that we can thoroughly answer your questions. Although Jennifer did a thoroughly awesome job last time, but I'll pass it on to Aaron and Jennifer on this part of the personnel committee budget piece.
Thank you. We are prepared to answer questions. I think if any of you have any additional questions, we're happy to answer them now. If not, we can give you again an overview of the budget itself and maybe talk about what it means in the context of budgeting for this fiscal year, what it means for the years to come. So does anyone have any questions? If not, I do think it's important that we kind of explain or elaborate on the context of this budget proposal. So it is correct that within this proposal, we've addressed the goals that were outlined earlier this year that were adopted by the board. And we think that the budget gives us the resources we need to deliver on those goals. However, Jennifer and maybe Jeremy can explain a little bit about what this budget affords us in terms of staffing and what our expectations are, needs in the future. There's some reorganization that's happened, but I think it's important that everyone here understands the expense of making these adjustments to our budget through attrition and without adding additional staff. So Jennifer, if you have some points that you want to.
When we look at the budget and we did it in more detail last time, we talked about the cap on FTEs and the number of staff that we are allotted that are our benefits eligible staff. And we've been working within this cap of 417.5 FTEs for the past, this will be the fourth fiscal year is where we're at and working within this number of FTEs. And in order to work within that number, but still do the things that we've done so far. So open new branches and staff them, open the culinary center and staff it, add things like passport and notary services for the public, and continue to do those things. We've addressed that within that cap by doing and also doing things like working towards a right-sized and correctly staffed, finance department to support, taking care of taxpayer resources. That we've done that within that cap by, doing restructures and reorganizations, and when folks vacate positions, either through resignation or retirement, we've been evaluating capacity each and every time. Do we fill this position, or do we need to reallocate it somewhere? Do we need to hold some positions so we can do restructure? We've been doing a lot of that, and we went into detail about that at the last meeting. But at some point at this point, frankly, and in just the last little bit, we're really at kind of a nickel and diming stage where we're really walking a very thin line with no, not just no room for growth, but no room for error, and no room for, anything to go, sideways, and no room to do anything, not much room to do anything new or exciting or to change things up. We are literally just walking we're really just walking a tightrope. And we have a lot of things to consider that are at the front, I know, of all of our minds. One of them being, we talked about minimum wage tracking in the last meeting, but the Department of Labor just released the new salary thresholds for staff to be exempt or non-exempt, so exempt from overtime, which branch managers in our library system are really. They have a very comprehensive set of duties. They are on call to take care of a building. Their facilities are now more complex now that we added, additional spaces for people to meet and people to study. They have, a high level of duty to the staff that they supervise and take care of. And then they have just the general customer experience and the customer service aspect. They also, we've had branch managers come and speak to the board about the outreach they do in the community with things like the local chambers of commerce and things like that. But with the new threshold, the exempt threshold, it's pushing up against it's greater than the starting wage for our branch manager ones, which puts us in a position of needing to, increase their pay in order to allow them to have the flexibility to do all of the duties that are part of their position. But what that does to the pay, that's below and above them is top of mind, because that's something that's taking place this year. So we really, in this budget, there is literally no breathing room. There's no growth room. We are looking at it, we're looking at it from the perspective of what we're gonna be able to do for the goals and for the things that we have planned for this year and trying to adjust within that, so.
That's the important point, that we want to make here, that, it's the right budget for this next year. Whether or not the allocation, of expenses for our overall budget is the right one for years to come remains to be seen. Because of these external forces applying upward pressure to, starting wages. So, that's just something put in your back pocket or to think about. But nonetheless, this budget is the right budget for this year. So, I don't know, does, Jeremy, do you have anything to add, or, Rusty, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank Jennifer for clarifying that the constraints that the executives are putting on, in particular, the human resources area, that's something that you don't consider necessarily to be a pattern in the future, especially with enhancing the services.
Well, did you?
I just, we're in an interesting place here where we're doing, it feels like I know that we are doing some remedial work in staffing some areas that maybe didn't get considered in previous years, and I'm talking about going back 5, 7, 10 years, that when we were thinking about building buildings and doing these things, we weren't thinking about every piece underneath that would be necessary to support expanded buildings, expanded hours, expanded services. So, we have adjusted within that to try to get this, to get enough people with the right skill set we need for them to do. But, we are, the way people work is changing, and the way that we are having to work is changing, including we're spending a lot of time really just nickel and diming, a lot of time. I gave Aaron, this analogy, and that is, it reminds me of when I was a single mom and I was checking my bank account every day. And that leaves no room to really focus on the things that we're supposed to be focusing on, because we're really trying to figure out how to very carefully spend the money. We've always done that. We have always run lean. We have always made do. And I don't think we've talked about that a lot with the board or committees, that we will, what you see for the public is our best, and that's what it should be. That's who it's for. And so some of us will sit in broken chairs and do, as much work as we can possibly fit into the time that we have available. Lots of workhorses around here, but at some point, we have to address the fact that everybody only has a certain amount of hours and a certain amount of resources. And so we're doing a lot of this shuffling that starts to be destabilizing. And so for staff and for programs and for services and what we're able to offer, we need to be looking at long-term what we're going to have for resources, so that we're not doing that, because it's not good for a stable organization.
Yeah, thank you. I guess, not that these are connected ideas, but two that keep floating around in my brain is one that, if I understand correctly, for libraries of comparable size in terms of collections and service area, they spend considerably more of a percent of their budget on human resources than we do here at Mid-Continent. Okay.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, as beautiful and lovely as these buildings are, they only come alive when, you have you guys come in and give it that life. So, maybe it's for the next budget cycles coming up, but now that we're shifting away from just building stuff, maybe it's, the services and the people that give it life inside these buildings that I think should have a higher emphasis. Now, again, you guys have the problem, of course, you allocate it between, repairs, maintenance, tech, whatever. That's your problem. But nonetheless, I think what I find so amazing is every time you go on the branches, it's the folks that are working there that are actually bringing it alive.
Correct. And we have fantastic staff, and staff that are, again, that are passionate, dedicated, and committed. But the skill sets that are required now, a lot of them are more specialized, things that are in finance, things that are in HR, things that are in IT, things that have to do with compliance. I mean, we've talked about, different aspects of it that require skill sets that we used to try to just learn about whoever was here and do. And we are an organization of size, and in order for us to be actually efficient, we've got to be able to pay for the skill sets that we need to take care of these buildings, to take care of the people that come in them, to give them the services they need at a level that they expect. And we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't ask, staff to just love the library so much that they don't need to get paid and compensated appropriately to work here. Because they do love the library that much, and we shouldn't ask for that. The public, I don't think, is asking us for that. And I think that we're thinking about that, and we're thinking about the future. And there's no world where we're not going to have to always be making hard decisions about where we're spending our money and how well we're spending it, what we're spending it. We want to be doing that. That's not what we want to. We're not trying to offload that responsibility so we don't have to think about it. But we do have to consider that there's got to be room for growth, room for ideas, and room for these outside forces that we can't always predict are going to be happening, and that we don't have any that we have to comply with. So there's a lot of pieces that we're considering all the time, and I think that we have to make sure that we're conveying that to the committees and the board, that we may be paddling under the water just as fast as we can, and it just on the top looks like a swan that's just beautifully, smoothly going. But there's a lot of paddling underneath the water, and that we are committed to taking good care of these resources. Just like I feel like that's what we're partnering with the board to do. That's our job, right? Is to take good care of these resources. And that's what we will continue to do. But we want to make sure that we're also bringing the board and the committees and the public into the conversation about the robbing Peter to pay Paul thing. And eventually there's no Peter to rob anymore. You're maxed out on whether you're able to pull from one area to take care of another.
I think, this is a good beginning to the conversation. Now, next week, when we present the full budget to the board in our special session, we'll have a much more in-depth conversation about revenues and what they look like, and our overall operations. So you will get to see much more detail and really how each agency within Mid-Continent Public Library works with the other financially. So that, I believe, will be a very informative conversation. So I look forward to having it with you. Yeah. Don't have anything else on my end.
Okay, are there any questions? If not, what we're wanting to do tonight is make a recommendation to the full board to adopt, oh, there it is, approval of, let me get to the bigger screen here. Approval of the recommendation to the full board to adopt the personnel components of the proposed 24 to 25 budget. It's important for me to recognize that this is not approving the budget per se, but recommending it to the full board. So if there are no more questions, I'll take a motion to do so. If there are questions, we could do that too.
I'll second it. This is Yummy.
Okay, so do we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
I'll second it. Rita?
Okay. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none? Teresa? Can you take a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely. Trustee Whitehall,
Aye.
trustee Weesey,
Aye.
trustee Thebes,
Yes.
trustee Pandolfi,
Aye.
trustee Step,
Yes,
trustee Virgo.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Okay. Next, is there any new business? I don't think so. Or visitors' comments?
No, we did not have any visitors' comments.
Okay, any other business or new business? Seeing none? Oh, this is going to be a record meeting here. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I so move, Rita.
Thank you, Rita.
second,
Okay, we've got a plethora of people seconding that motion. I'll take a roll, just a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
I
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right. I